He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is The Alex Marlow Show.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is The Alex Marlow Show. I'm so happy to be here today. We're recording a little later today, which is not good. I don't like that. It's a bad habit. But I've got some good excuses. First of all, the episode from yesterday, we're just beginning the promotion of it with Senator Mike Lee. He's one of these guys where I asked him 5 or 6 questions, and every single one of them turned into what could have been a lead story for us at Breitbart News. He's talking about how Doge is trying to amend the government that had been kidnapped by the deep state. That was a good one. He also talked about how the REINS Act is the most important piece of legislation, which you're going to have to hear his explanation for that one. It's over at Breitbart.com if you want to get that. But his most explosive idea that I think I saw of all of them was his wanting to use the letters of marque and reprisal from James Madison, which would allow for literal pirates. Yes, we're talking about pirates, American pirates, privateers, but also pirates, to take over and fight the Mexican cartels. I was trying to think who would actually do this. Eric Prince of BlackRock could do it, but Senator Lee suggesting basically that we need to have pirates go down and take on the cartels and make a fortune, make a bounty, if you will, get some booty while they're down there. And it would be just a tremendous thing if that would happen. And he walks through why he thinks that's more logical. So all that's in yesterday's show, and we're just trying to work on the promo for that. You'll see some of that over at Breitbart.com and on our social platforms. Very good. The other thing that happened to me is I had a bout of inspiration. And, you know, I like to do most of my work on a schedule. I'm more of a we schedule stuff type of guy. That I've got the show, and the show takes X amount of time. I've got my Breitbart show, Breitbart Confidential, that takes X amount of time. I'll do 1 or 2 homepage updates that are slotted in per a specific number of time is allotted to that. And sometimes, though, you get overwhelmed and you feel like, you know what, I'm going to ride this. And so I spent a lot of the morning writing about what I think is a huge pattern. I've got a big story up at Breitbart News. I don't write at Breitbart News all that much unless I've got something really important to say. Try to keep my ideas for the show and for the front page. But I wrote an article. These are very time consuming because you got to lock in. If you're writing an article, that's why I wrote all my books nights and weekends only. I think it's never the middle of the day, never write during the middle of the day on a weekday. It never happens. I would like to. I don't have that type of luxury. But you got to lock in, turn off the email, and just follow it if you can. And I've been going through this pattern. These Lawfare judges are waging an unprecedented effort to shut down Donald Trump and his agenda. And this is the big point I want to make today. We've been talking about how the Democrats are rudderless, how they're lacking compelling, charismatic leadership. They are losing ground rapidly in the culture wars. We saw this over the weekend, the Super Bowl, where all the woke stuff is going away. The Black Lives Matter stuff is gone. We've ended racism. There's no end racism in the end zone, the NFL. And they've got no charismatic people. All of their people are so unlikable. I'm going to play you a clip of the new DNC chair. This is a guy named Ken Martin talking about Doge. I want you to watch this, and you tell me if this is remotely compelling to you.
Elon Musk has already shown that he's the worst president that the U.S. has ever had. And so, in all honesty, I mean, this is the guy that was put in charge to bring efficiency to our government. The last thing he cares about is actually helping improve people's lives. Him and Donald Trump, basically, you have this government now that's been bought by the billionaires. The billionaires have one thing in mind.
So first of all, he's on this thing called the Midas Touch Network, which is one of the most radical left-wing podcasting platforms. Just total hysterics over there. And he looks like he's about to cry. He's got this thing with his face where he's just pinching his face together. And he doesn't look like he's very comfortable speaking publicly. He's leaning into the camera in a really, makes it seem like a really nerdy, dorky way. I'm trying to describe in a lot of detail for those of you who merely listen. He's definitely a pencil neck. He's an absolute pencil neck. He looks like he's about a size 11 on the collar, which I don't think they make those outside the kids section. So look, it's just not cool. I don't mean to make fun of his appearance. He might be wearing a piece. Definitely looks like a piece toupee, which is, look, people got to deal with male pattern baldness. I'm not unsympathetic. I'm just saying that, is this going to be the guy who takes back the culture war from the current president, who on Super Bowl Sunday, played golf with Tiger Woods, went to the Super Bowl, got cheered, banned the penny. He's banning plastic straws. He's doing all this stuff. And then we got this guy.
Thing in mind, which is to make the most amount of profit they can off the backs of hardworking men and women in this country. I don't know how in the hell changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America is going to help anyone in this country right now.
Oh, he said hell, so that makes him cool. How in the hell is changing? Hold on, let me pinch my face really close. How in the hell is going to change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, helping people with egg prices? Like, it doesn't, this is nothing. They don't have anything. So in the meantime, Trump's doing this.
To address it, and it really is something that affects ordinary Americans in their everyday lives.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a...
Okay, so those of you, if you didn't make that out, we're going back to plastic straws. Now he's talking about paper straws, which he claims explode. And if you put them in hot water or hot beverage, they don't last
like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay.
It's okay. It's way okay.
And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's such a blast. And it's okay. So, but here's my main point. My main point is they don't have any cultural clout. They don't have cool people. They have big dorks running their party now. They couldn't even get the teenager Big Balls fired from Doge. That didn't even hold. They're cancel culture tactics. They don't even work. We have Big Balls, and now Elon Musk is going by Hairy Balls online. He's got a really infantile sense of humor. So it's below juvenile. It's like my 6-year-old and younger, kind of into that stuff. There's a lot of fending off booty jokes in my house these days. Just one of the burdens of having a bunch of young kids. So what are they going to do? In all seriousness, what's the left going to do? They only one move is lawfare. This is their own. The political party, the Democrat Party, the culture wars, all this stuff's not working. The one thing that they've got is to try to obstruct Trump's agenda with activist judges. This is how they were able to leave a mark on Trump in the last administration. It wasn't a big one. He survived most of it. But so what I've done is I've looked through at Breitbart News. I won't get through everything on this show, but I've got a big piece at Breitbart.com. You get the rest of it. But I've gone through a lot of these judges who are blocking a lot of parts of Trump's agenda thus far. And what they're doing is they're going to stop it. And this stuff will get appealed. A lot of the times they'll lose. But all of these people are at least gumming up the works so the democratically elected president is undermined. And every one of these people appointed by Clinton, Obama, Biden, that's who appointed them. And they're in there as political people. A lot of them are Democrat donors. And then they go in there and they slow things down. This first woman I look at, Judge Angel Kelly, U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts, nominated by Big Joey the Biden. And she just blocked Trump from capping indirect costs for reimbursements, which is overhead for these universities, provided by the National Institute of Health. So there's a National Institute of Health providing funds, but these are funds that are not going directly where they're supposed to go. They're going to, administrative BS. So this is just an element to slash waste. They're capping it at 15%. That stuff that's not just going to the actual research, the medical research, stuff like that. They're going to extraneous stuff. Then that's getting capped. And she just shut it down. So, and then you look into this woman's history. Elizabeth Warren said that Kelly made it a personal mission to bring about change through her role on the bench, admitting she's an activist. You dig deeper. This person is a flat out DEI hire. She was someone that was clearly picked because she has highlighted her own mixed race heritage, African-American, Asian-American heritage. And she herself has applied DEI criteria to her own hiring practices, saying diversity is very important to her. And I want people who bring about different life experiences. We're talking race, gender, geography, socioeconomic background, etc. So she's also talked about systemic racism in all of our systems, including the court system, which is critical race theory. That's what it's all about, that the system is rigged because of racism. She also participated in something called the China Judicial Exchange, which is affiliated with the People's Court of China. which is the Chinese government. So if you guys want to see that, I go through all of these things, all of her rulings. She took away a police officer's First Amendment rights because of over George Floyd. He had made a post online about how the George Floyd Act was not good. It was some bill called the George Floyd Act. And she cites Black Lives Matter talking points when she's announcing that he's not entitled to all these rights. I go on. The list is longer, and I'm only cutting it off here just for the sake of flow for the broadcast. But I have 5 other examples. And this judge, Judge Angel Kelly, is one of the people who's blocking Trump's agenda. I go on. Senior Judge Amy Berman Jackson of the U.S. District Court of the District of Columbia, nominated by Barack Obama. This is a person who was at the forefront of the Russian collusion hoax. She was one of the people who was one of the prosecutors or judges that presided over many of the J6 rioter cases. And she got a lot of convictions. She got a lot of prison sentences. And she built this reputation in the courtroom for pontificating about her judicial philosophy for an hour or more. So this is supposed to be, she's doing procedural court check-ins or just kind of updating on how things are going. And she just opined for an hour on stuff. So she's one of the people who's been blocking other of Trump's moves. She reinstated a person from the Office of the Special Counsel, Hampton Dellinger, a Biden appointee, who Trump had fired. And she said Trump can't fire him. She reinstated him. So they get a Biden appointee who Trump didn't want. Trump gets rid of him. She says no. She's also a Democrat donor. I'll give you another one. Chief Judge John J. McConnell Jr. of the U.S. District Court of Rhode Island, nominated by President Obama, a Democrat donor. He's blocking another spending freeze that Trump's done. Great reporting here from the Daily Caller, who's a reporter also on his background being a major donor to Democrats, not just a ancillary donor. He made a bunch of money in the private sector, and now he's donating big league to Democrats. But he's trying to protect the administrative state by not only stopping the freeze, but implying that there could be criminal charges against those who are trying to freeze the funds. His political giving is very intense, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can look all that up at Breitbart News. I list some others. Judge Colleen Collar-Cotterley, appointed by Bill Clinton. She stood against Trump's effort to undercut excess by blocking Doge from obtaining access to Treasury Department payment records. So she's famous for having sentenced a dying pro-life activist to prison, even though that the person's spouse was pleading, please don't, their spouse is dying, don't send them to jail right now. They're just an activist for their causes. And her reply was, make every effort to stay alive as part of the tenets of your religion. It's just a nasty piece of work. Here's a fresh one. Judge Paul A. Engelmeyer. This came up on the show with Senator Lee yesterday. A guy who is trying to forbade all appointees, including the Treasury Secretary himself, from accessing the Department of Treasury data. So pure lawfare, obviously. Lee breaks this down expertly. But the key thing that I want to emphasize from the Lee interview is this ex parte the hearing where the Trump administration lawyers are not there. It's only left-wing radicals in the room who are setting the rules with no pushback. This happened quite a bit during some of those lawfare cases against Trump in the prior administration. So I get into George O'Toole Jr., another judge. First, he blocked Trump's federal government employee buyouts, even though 65,000 federal employees wanted it. And now he's blocked the transfer of trans women, AKA biological males, to men's prisons. Okay, I think I've got your attention on the Juvent Micro Impact platform. I've been using it, and I'll tell you guys, I did something that I have not done all year. I played 9 holes. Hit some balls before, and I came home and it was rough house day. All 4 of the kids even had the baby going, and they're getting big. I'm tossing them, I'm throwing them all over the living room. They're going this way and that. They're jumping on my back. I'm doing push-ups in the garage, and the kids are on my back. It is not good for my lower back. I've had lower back issues, and something magical happened to me. I recuperated from a very tough day on my lower back instantly. And I don't know what's going on. Perhaps it is the one change in my routine that I've made lately, which is I'm using the Juvent Micro Impact platform. Now, one of you emailed me and said, I'm all in, but I don't know how to spell it. How do you spell it? Juvent, Juvent, JUVENT.com/Marlow. And you can get access to this cutting edge technology that helps you with bone health, longevity, stability, and for me, recovery. That's what it's all about. I'm still going hard. I'm in the gym now. I'm back on the bike. I'm back on the golf course, and I've constantly got a child on my back or on my front. And it is nice to know that I'm taking all of the necessary steps to make sure that my health is in good shape for the long haul. Very simple part of my routine. I pick up Master Marlow Jr. from school. I jump on the Juvent Micro Impact platform. I get these micro impacts that are strengthening my bones, helping me recover. While I stand there and I use my phone, I get my team to fill me in on all the news that's happening. And I get off the platform. I'm more knowledgeable and I'm healthier. It's a very cool thing that I've added to my routine, and it is something that I am convinced is going to help me for the long haul. It is a very low risk proposition I'm giving you, because if you don't like it after 6 weeks, Juvent will buy back the platform from you. They've got a 10-year limited warranty with financing options, and you can even use FSA funds. Sort of a no-brainer if you're the type of person who feels like you want to do the most for your bone health and you want to do the most for your prospects at recovery. It really is something that is just a part of my life now that I'm really grateful that is a new part of my routine. Juvent.com/Marlow. That's JUVENT.com/Marlow. Code Marlow at checkout for $500 off. That's a great deal. Check it out. Take control of your health in 2025 and see the results for yourself. There's even more on the list, and the list is going to grow by the minute. As I was preparing for the show, after I wrote the article, a judge ordered HHS, CDC, and FDA to restore deleted web pages with health information. Biden changed all of these web pages that Trump had put up. Trump had put up these great web pages about immigration, border wall construction, explaining how walls work and our immigration systems work. Biden administration, the Biden administration came in and erased a lot of those websites. They changed them, they archived them. And then now we got to restore all of them. Why is this? Why are we so obsessed with this stuff? We're just trying to nickel and dime Trump, trying to distract people so they can't move forward with their agenda. Their agenda, like using the letters of marque and reprisal to get the pirates down there taking out the cartels. So one thing that was kind of ironically funny, also disturbing in its own way, but something that was pretty amusing that I saw is Jamie Raskin now is to impeach Elon Musk. And you heard that clip from Ken Martin saying that Musk has been a terrible president. But Raskin, when you impeach Musk, I think is also humorous because you can't impeach Musk unless he's a legitimate government official. So this is sort of an admission of failure on his part. Jamie Raskin, he's another guy who always got to check in on his hair. His hair provides infinite entertainment whenever Raskin shows up someplace. But with Raskin, if you have to impeach Musk, it's because Musk is legit. So what is it? Is he illegitimate and he shouldn't be operating at all? Or is he legit a government employee and appointment, and thus he can do what he's doing, and the only way to stop him is with an impeachment? So anyway, exciting stuff. And I feel like that there's so much good that can be done, that is being done. And all of this is going to get slowed down unless the Trump's administration figures out a way to push back in an effective way. And some of it will be easy. Some of it will be just soldiering ahead, using mockery, ridicule, all those tools at your disposal. But there's other things that are going to take a little more effort. Here's an easy one. Here's Pete Hegseth on an international trip. Our own Christina Wong is with him, traveling. So we'll have some exclusives for any minute now at Breitbart News. So you can look forward to some of those. But one thing he did is, I want to get your take on this. Aloha at alexmarlow.com. He's restored the name of Fort Bragg. Let's see and hear the audio.
There it is. Pursuant to the authority of the Secretary of Defense, Title 10, United States Code, Section 113, I direct the Army to change the name of Fort Liberty, North Carolina, to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's right. Bragg is back.
So it's kind of a thin explanation there. And I was looking into this, that the Fort Bragg was originally named after General Braxton Bragg, who fought for the Confederacy, and now will be named in honor of Private First Class Roland L. Bragg, who's awarded the Silver Star at the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. It's kind of a technicality. It's kind of clever by the Trump administration. But so they don't want to name it after the Confederate Bragg, but they want to restore Fort Bragg. Does that defeat the purpose? And that's what I'm asking you guys. I'm not wedded to it either way. I know that we got a email on this. Emailer Mark N said, Alex, love the show. Great to hear you back in the pod space. Just to know in the ridiculous renaming of military bases. As a civilian employee for the DOD at an overseas military installation, I chat with soldiers on the regular. They all still refer to it as Fort Bragg, Fort Benning, and et cetera. Changing the names was just another thumb in the eye of our nation's warriors. Pleased to see Secretary Hegseth reversing course in the lunacy. I also find it particularly amusing that he renamed Bragg after a different but no less heroic Bragg. It's good stuff. I love the amusement. I don't know how strongly I feel about any of this. I'm way down with it. Why not? Let's have fun. We're having a great time. Okay, so let's continue. What else going on? Lots going on. Trump says all hell is going to break loose if Hamas does not free all the hostages by Saturday noon. So Hamas is now trying to avoid releasing all the hostages they committed to release. This is not something that's going to set well with Trump. And I like when they challenge him in this regard, because if they do this, then it is Trump is he is going to double down and triple down. You cannot cross him. Just ask Gustavo Petro down in Colombia how that went for him. Could end up losing his job basically because he just told Trump, we're not going to do as you say. You are going to absolutely do what he says. People have almost no leverage over him right now. He's got a head of steam. He's never been more popular. And he feels very empowered that the shock and awe approach is overwhelming the establishment media, which was his biggest thorn in his first administration. So he is absolutely doing what he needs to do. And good luck, Hamas. I'm just saying, if you're not going to do what you said, good luck. Trump also talked today a little bit about taking back Gaza. I got some audios, play a little bit for you.
Mr. President, you said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy.
We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy it. There's nothing to buy. Just such a power move.
We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. I mean, him off the cuff is funnier than any other person I think I know on a personal level. We're going to get it going eventually where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East.
One person or one group of people who are going to be out of a job are a lot of people in the deep state who are trying to ride their security clearances to 7- and 8-figure checks. Stephen Miller was talking about this, Trump's senior advisor, about Trump's relentless doing away with the automatic security clearances for deep state people who are just going to leverage their access to classified information and material to make money, which is a practice that is so repulsive that it's gone on, and Trump's just ending it. Here's Miller.
People leave government. They are now private citizens, but they continue to have access to sensitive secrets, and then they use that access in conjunction and partnership with the bureaucracy to weaponize intelligence against American people and against political enemies. And President Trump is saying, no, that stops. Drain the swamp isn't just a talking point. It is a mandate.
I think I love everything about Stephen Miller. I go back with him a long ways. And those of you who have been with me a long time have heard this story, but it's still worth repeating, is that when I was driving around, stuck in traffic, going to prep school in Los Angeles, Stephen Miller was the most frequent guest on my most favorite radio show, The Larry Elder Show. And I couldn't believe it. He was a neighbor. And we crossed paths a number of times, most often at the early stage of the MAGA movement when he was working for Jeff Sessions and was guiding the sort of initial, the beginning of the America First agenda ascending within American politics and the American right wing. And he was, he's always been very impressive. But first of all, he's very well tailored. He speaks perfectly. He speaks aggressively, and he's highly irritating to people on the left. So how could you beat that? So looks sharp, annoys the crap out of the left, has a very thorough and precise agenda, and never backs down for an inch. I mean, could you beat that?
Mandate.
No, you can't.
For 4 years, this issue between 2020 and 2024 was endlessly litigated before the American people about weaponized justice, about weaponized intelligence, about weaponized bureaucracy. And the American people elected Donald Trump, and they said, shut it all down. Shut down the weaponization, shut down the abuse of our intelligence system, shut down this entire system that crushes our rights and freedoms at the expense of a privileged few. And that is what he is doing. He is following through on the mandate that the American people gave him to say that our intelligence system and our law enforcement.
I'm only pausing it because they got their theme music playing, and that's distracting to me, but it's so good. It's so good. He's in full flight. Interesting one. Steve Bannon is his lawyers are in talks with prosecutors, I guess, to find a plea deal in the border wall fraud case. So I think he's got to plead guilty to felony. So I don't know what the consequences are for that for Steve. But those of you who follow Steve's stuff, it doesn't look like he's going to go to jail, so he won't be off the air. He had indicated this was going to happen earlier this week. He did an interview and he said he thinks he's going to stay out of jail. I will tell you, I will refrain from opining on the We Build the Wall case too much because I don't want to. I don't want. That's not the point here. I want to report the news. But I think this is a big win for him. And even if he's got to take the plea deal and, have the convicted felon branding or whatever that the left likes to use, which was not effective against Donald Trump, by the way, at a major level. I think that's a good thing because that We Build the Wall stuff was, it was not great. It was not great. And I was skeptical of it. We covered it a little bit at Breitbart, but I was very skeptical of some of the stuff that was going on over there. And it wasn't really my role to, be the policeman of it. I always thought it was not some of the best work I saw from some of the people who were involved. And I think Steve getting no jail time on that is big. It's a win for the movement, I think, overall. So I think that's a real positive because I didn't know for sure he was going to avoid jail time for that. So the fact that he's not getting it is a win. That's a victory. And I think that that's a good thing, especially if you like consuming Steve's stuff. But taking him off the field again would not have been great at this moment. And I think that it's a good thing that he's going to be free. Other stuff that's going on. Another person who's got a new job, Rick Grinnell over at the Kennedy Center. Let me play this. This is Trump.
So we took over the Kennedy Center. We didn't like what they were showing and various other things. And I had a lot of the board members already, as you know, and we have some that will be replaced. But we have, I guess, a whole new group of people going in. I have Rick Grinnell, who's got some experience in that world. He's very good. Going to be handling it on a temporary basis. I think he'll do a great job, but we're going to get some great professionals. I'm going to be chairman of it, and we're going to make sure that it's good and it's not going to be woke. There's no more woke in this country. This woke has cost us a fortune and cost us our reputation, but the reputation's coming back very, very rapidly. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know what Grenell's background is on this. I guess I could have done some more research ahead of time. Why you would be in charge of the Kennedy Center. I just like Grenell. I just like when he's in charge of anything. Anything he's in charge of goes well, typically. So does he got a big arts background? Maybe he does. I don't know, but that would be. It's fine. It's all good. He'll do a nice job. He's very responsible. He is highly competent, and he's leader. He's a leader. He's leadership qualities. And the Kennedy Center has become a woke incubator for woke art, not good art, not beautiful art. Trump's got a real eye for aesthetics. His buildings look cool. They look good. His golf courses are impeccably maintained. He's got a real eye for aesthetics. He's got a great style. He's well dressed. His wife is one of the best dressed people in the world, maybe in the history of the world, for all I know. So I don't know. I trust Trump on this stuff, and I like putting Grenell in charge of anything. And I just feel like that anyone who's involved with the Kennedy Center, which is a woke disaster, I think that's I like them getting that news. Trump is really going to be in charge though himself, which I just think is so cool. What a great move. So interim executive director Rick Grinnell, and he immediately announced no more drag shows. No more drag shows. I guess that was Trump who announced it, but that's great. No more drag shows in America's golden age. So, Rick, welcome to show business, Trump says. All good. Look forward to it. Do you know how cool it would be if we did get some of the political agendas out of the art world and we went back to having the centerpiece of our what we pursued is beauty and excellence in art? And if that came back to America, where American art was something we'd all be proud of, then it really would be it would be just a terrific addition to Trump's legacy, because America has produced traditionally some of the most amazing culture. And it's part of what gave us our start at Breitbart, is the veneration of that culture. And most of it now has been kind of mediocre and very trashy. There's some stuff that's okay, but we're just not leading the world the way we used to, and not with beautiful stuff. With, we got Lizzo now. It's way too much Lizzo going on. Scale back on the Lizzo. I think we'll be okay. All right. Speaking of Grenell, so I'm keeping a close eye on what's going on in California. So we've got, and stay tuned for this at Breitbart News, we've got Gavin Newsom staging a photo op to mark the start of the federal debris removal. This has almost nothing to do with Newsom. This has to do with the Army National Guard Corps. This has to do with President Trump. This has to do with the EPA and the leadership of Lee Zeldin. It is not about anything Newsom's done, and Newsom is still planning to host the ribbon cutting type deal. And he's got these prop excavators up there. I'll tell you, if he's trying to appeal to 6-year-olds, would work. I mean, my 4-year-old, Master Marlow Jr., go crazy with those big excavators. He got some big flags on it. So he's just running for president. That's all that's going on. Look, if him running for president means California gets cleaned up faster, fine. He had a very nice quote about Lee Zeldin, EPA head. So it's good if it's productive. I want you all to be very cautious about who's taking credit. Karen Bass's LA recovery czar, Steve Soberov, was getting $500,000 for 3 months of work. This is one of these dorks, one of these clowns who is part of the LA establishment. He impersonated a Republican for a long time, but, is no stones. And he's come up on the show a lot because I'm semi-obsessed with him, because he's constantly advertised as what a good Republican's like, even though he's a Democrat. Like he is. He's probably a Democrat now, officially. But he was on the board of the Los Angeles Police Commissioners, I guess. That's his main thing. But it's one of these ubiquitous LA gadflies. His son is not only one of the biggest advocates for illegal immigration in the world. He's a MSNBC reporter who's reported extensively on the benefits and the necessity of illegal immigration, a real open border zealot. But he's the main person tracking the fire recovery for NBC. He's the NBC's top reporter on the fires. So when your dad's supposed to be in charge of it, I guess, he's the recovery chief, and you're the main guy reporting on it for NBC, Comcast, Universal, then that's not a great look. So we get a photo of him up with a quarter zip on. Looks terrible. Terrible look. Compare that Stephen Miller sharp suit on Bartiromo's show. Yeah, he's out there with the quarter zip. Disgraceful quarter zip. So I hope he does a good job. He won't. Hopefully Rick Caruso keeps an eye on everyone. He's out there doing a lot of interviews, stuff like that. We'll try to get him on here. Hopefully he'll do it. Let's hope he's not too much of a fraidy cat. So there we go. Kristi Noem's terminated 4 FEMA employees who circumvented leadership to make payments for migrant housing in New York hotels. So that's where our tax dollars are going. We're paying for migrant housing in New York hotels. That's what FEMA's up to. And so all of you are saying we need to ice out California. People lost their houses and stuff. And then they lose their already allocated FEMA funds to fraud because we don't have control over it. The federal government's got problems. State government's got problems. That's why we got to get all that Doge stuff going. Got to make stuff much more efficient. That's why they're all freaking out about Doge. Check out Liz Warren. She's just completely melting down. Check this out.
Let's take a look at Elon Musk. He spent $288 million to get Donald Trump elected. That's a lot of money and a lot of ads. And believe me, they didn't talk about in those ads raising taxes on billionaires. They talked about cutting costs for American families. So now Elon Musk has shown up and said he's ready to collect on his investment. Here's one way that he may be trying to collect on that investment. X, formerly Twitter, lost money hand over fist. Elon Musk has a new plan, and that is X money. That is that he's going to be out there in everybody's.
So she's doing her professorial thing, and she's got the cadence like she knows what she's talking about, but it's all coded language. It's all left-wing coded language. I know Twitter's lost money for Twitter, but do you not doubt that Twitter's made money for Musk overall so far? That he's got 1 million other companies, and he's got one of the biggest social media platforms in the world is a nonstop 24/7 advertisement for everything Elon Musk does. It's part of where he's going to make all this money under Trump is because Trump is getting sent tweets of Musk catching the rocket ship with the 2 chopsticks, which is the coolest thing. Look, you guys know I say as much negative about Musk as positive. He's very much a neutral figure overall to me. Well, he's been positive lately, obviously. I love the Doge stuff. But his stuff with China, I really don't like. I mentioned the H-1B stuff where I'm not on the same page. But when you have a rocket ship and you're catching with the chopsticks, it's the coolest thing ever. And so he's marketing that on Twitter. He's making money. He's making money for his other products on this stuff. He is a massive levels of Starlink advertisements, basically, on Twitter. Everything he does is whole ethos. So it's just so disingenuous. The other thing is that acting as though we don't want him to cut the size and scope of government. In acting like that's something that is going to benefit millionaires and billionaires. We don't care. We just know the government's too bloated. And we know the collective freakout over Doge is because you, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, and people like you, people like Morning Joe, the show she's on right now, they want the government to be as large as possible. They like it. They like that ecosystem. So we don't like it anymore. We're over it. And you can just say the word billionaire over and over. It's not going to change the fact that we know your entire party is bankrolled by billionaires. And it has been. Until you guys all disavow George Soros, I don't want to hear any of this. It's a joke. She's just filling space. And Scarborough's got a ass-eating grin on. He looks like he's loving it.
Financial life. He faces one problem, though, and that is the financial cop on the beat. The CFPB that stands behind him looks over his shoulder and says, you can't cheat people, you can't trick people, and you can't suck up their personal financial data or any personal data and use it just for yourself or sell it to anyone you want to. So what's Elon Musk doing? Well, just a little bit ahead of launching his product, he says, let's shut down the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Let's take those financial cops off the beat. It is a little like a bank robber saying, I know what let's do. Let's fire the cops, turn off the alarms, just as the bank robber decides to stroll into the lobby of the bank. I think that people...
All right, that's enough. The CFPB is something that Warren has always championed, and it's one of these things where it's always billed to the American public like they're going to go after the big shots, and they just end up spending a lot of time going after, policing potholes and policing payday lenders, which is, I mean, it's not like these are great things. Targeting prepaid debt card industry. These are all the things that they do. There's so many cons going on. This is a major con, and it rewards $1 million contracts to left-wing firms. So it's just Trump has been at war with them since the last administration. And they've given lots of sweetheart deals to different left-wing entities. We've got the mountains of reporting on this at Breitbart News. But this is a absolute Goliath of a industry, and it's been one of Elizabeth Warren's, one of her tools that she's used to implement a lot of her agenda and to reward people that are meaningful to her with her left-wing agenda. So it's good for Trump to reverse some of this stuff, and he's happy to do it. Here's what he said when he was asked about it recently. Let's hear Trump's reaction.
Regarding the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren, have said that by freezing it, it's giving big banks and giant corporations the green light to steal families.
Pocahontas is the fake.
So he's asked about, I couldn't hear the exact question, but it's a serious question. His reaction is, yeah, Pocahontas.
The faker. That was set up to destroy people. She used that as her little personal agency to go around and destroy people. And she's a fake, just like she said she was an Indian, and she wasn't an Indian.
See, this is like, I should just play Trump clips. I don't even have to do the show. His explanation was better than mine. She used it to destroy people. She's a fake. We know she's a fake because she impersonated an Indian.
You have more Indian blood in you than she has. She went to college based on the fact that she was an Indian. She got jobs based on the fact that she was an Indian. She's a fake. That was set up to destroy some very good people, and it worked. I mean, it worked. A lot of great people. I'll tell you, before I ever heard the term, people would come up to me in the Midwest and areas and say, "Sir, I'm being destroyed by them." They use that to destroy people. She's a nasty woman. She's a really nasty woman. despite her phony beer commercial.
Yeah, this is where she did a beer commercial where she drank a beer with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on a Instagram as if that was going to convince people that she's cool. How did she put one over on so many people that she was some sort of a reformer? She is a nasty woman. It's the Native American thing is not a small deal. That she wrote in a cookbook, Pow Wow Chow, a collection of recipes from families of the 5 civilized tribes, Cherokees, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminole. A book that's supposed to have historical significant recipes. She wrote about some sort of like a crab. It was a crab and tomato mayonnaise dressing thing, cold omelets with crab, like all this stuff that was in there. Warren is participating in this book. And it was just the most bizarre recipe. She had no business being in it at all. And she's like contributing to this Native American cookbook. Like what a pathological liar. All right, guys, this is a fun one for me today because once I'm done with the show this evening, it is the beginning of birthday celebration weekend for Molly Marlow. She does the comments at Breitbart News, and she also is my beloved sister. And we're starting the birthday weekend, and we are both steak people. And I'm going to be searing my steak on the Solaire infrared grill. So the Solaire grills, this is the best hot grill. You go to besthotgrill.com. It ramps up to the highest heat imaginable, which allows you to get that great sear on all your meat. Now you can turn it down a little bit, but the main thing is that this grill heats up fast. We're talking 3 minutes. You can grill outside. It's raining here. I don't care. I'm not going to be out there very long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the slow cooker. I'm going to get the barbecue out. I'm probably going to do a tri-tip, and I'm going to get my favorite rub on there. I'm going to slow cook. It's going to come up to temperature. I'm going to rest it. And then when I'm done resting it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fire up that Solaire, and I'm going to lock in a sear that's going to make the most unbelievable caramelization zone crust. We're talking caramelization on the top, making like a candy, crispy, delicious. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I'm so excited. We call this the pre-kend in the Marlow house. That's the Thursday evening rolling into Friday morning. It's not quite the weekend. It's the pre-kend. We love a great pre-kend, and it's going to be steak night, and it's going to be with my Solaire infrared grill. I honestly can't wait. You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice. If you go to besthotgrill.com, made in America, high quality product. You can get a really tiny one. Mine's pretty small, or you can get a bigger one. Whatever you want. This is a good people, good company, and it is the proper way to cook a steak. You fire it up and you get that hot heat. That's what it's all about. And that's how you can really nail that cook. Perfect steak. And it's really not that hard. It's fun. It's a great project for all of you. If you're not into grilling your own meat, you've got to get into it. So much healthier. I can't say enough. besthotgrill.com, Solaire, check them out. So unbelievable. So Breitbart News broke this story, by the way, in May of 2012 of Pow Wow Chow. So we call her Pocahontas, like fake Pocahontas. So Trump calls her Pocahontas, but we're still Pocahontas skeptical here on the Alex Marlow Show. We're pro Pocahontas, a little better, but great stuff from Trump, and you can play that all day. Last little slate of stories to bring up for now. Disney dropping 2 DEI programs of investor backlash grows. Disney's one of the last major companies not to kiss Trump's ring at all. It doesn't surprise me because I think Bob Iger, the chairman, is a legit leftist. And you start realizing who's a capitalist and who's a leftist. Zuckerberg's not a leftist. He's a capitalist, and he thought for a while being anti-Trump was a better way to make money. We're seeing some of that from the Musk of the world, from the Googles of the world, perhaps, hopefully Google. We hope. Bezos, obviously. We're seeing that these people are capitalists more than leftists. Patrick Soon-Shiong of the LA Times. So they've done a lot of bad over the years. But could they come around if they think it's better for their bottom line to be with the good guys, to be with us? So Bob Iger's not like that. Disney, he's a leftist. He's a left-wing guy. And so him dropping DEI programs is a big deal. But also, let's not forget, the capitalist side is hurting Disney. The soaring prices driving families away from their theme parks. Now, I have children of a certain age. And so I see, I'm not, I would say I don't totally boycott the Disney experiences. We can elaborate on that at a later show. I've got extensive thoughts on it. But it really is expensive, and you do see some crowds thinning out at some of their things. So it's certainly not the same brand that it was, and all the woke stuff playing a big, big factor. I can guarantee you that, and they got to consider it. All right, let's see. Other stuff, just to plug a Breitbart News, we got an exclusive from Geert Wilders. So the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, who is just amazing always to get those. So from us, so we've got a article from him, which is the No Country Can Survive Without Deeply Rooted Tradition and Patriotism, an essay for him at Breitbart News, exclusive today. Always happy to see those. AI Battle Royale, Elon Musk bidding $97 billion to buy OpenAI. Sam Altman counters with an offer for X. We've got a big drama AI battle between Musk and the vegan weirdo Sam Altman in the AI space. That is a subject of my Breitbart Confidential show that I do every day at the Breitbart Fight Club, our premium membership. So if you get that, it's good to do. And I guess that's it. I got a lot of great email. Let me hit... How far are we in the show? I got time for a couple email. Let's do, I mentioned one already, so I'm going to give myself credit for that. Let's see. So here, this was interesting. A guy named Dan Yaklin from Michigan emails me, Alex, I'm trying to inform you that my beautiful mother, Kim, has passed away. We were both day one listeners of you and your show, and you brought a lot of joy and humor into her life. I apologize for the sad message, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you for bringing light to her life and mine. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Sincerely, Dan Yaklin. I just wanted to bring that up for no other reason that it's beautiful, and thank you. And as a talk radio listener who's produced tens of thousands of hours of talk radio and now starting to podcast over the years, I'm a consumer first. I'm a listener first. And that is absolutely how I feel about my favorite hosts. Is I'm grateful to them for, even if I've never met them. And some of them who I've listened to for thousands of hours, I've never met even in my line of work. And it's very special to have those relationships. You don't have many. We're kind of your friends. I want to be your friend. I think that's part of it. I want to be your smart friend who's also tough on you if I feel like you got stuff wrong. But I want to be your friend. And if I feel like I could bring you a little bonding with your mother over the shows, that's truly, truly something that's beautiful for me to hear. And thank you for sharing that. It means a lot. Let's see. What do we got? Let's see. All right. What do we got? We got some more here. Philip Hall, Alex, love your show and miss it on the weekends. That's why I bring this up. So I'm thinking about this. Should I do one more show a week? Yesterday, I want to do one more show. And then today I was thinking, I don't know, kind of maybe 5's the right number. So I look at some people like my friend Charlie Kirk. He does I think 15 shows a week. That's a lot of shows. And then I see some of my other colleagues in podcasting, they do longer shows. So they might do fewer, but the shows are longer. I look at Victor Davis Hanson shows, like an hour, 20 minutes. I think Megyn Kelly shows longer, hour and a half, something like that. I'm just wondering what's because I can play with it a little bit. The key number one is to make sure to sell all my advertising inventory. That's the number one, because you got to get that supply and demand. So I got to keep the bosses happy. They're very happy so far. So it's a good sign. So that's good. That's good news. But thinking, I feel like doing one more, maybe so I could formalize having a long form interview once a week, cap it at once a week, make it exactly once a week. Because I love those deep dives, but I don't want to do them too frequently. I don't want to do them too infrequently. So maybe that's what I'm thinking. But if you have a thought, would you want one more hour? What formats are you liking the best of the various formats that I do? The long form interview, the combo, the just news rundown like today's show. I like to hear from you. aloha@alexmarlow.com. Phil continues, I'm tired of judges shutting down the will of the American people. We need to get in front of the left. As soon as we roll something out, we should be prepared to sue ourselves. We should in front of a very conservative judge. I like that. The judge will rule against us and the initiatives will move forward. That's kind of interesting. We got to be able to live up to our own standards in some ways. I agree. This is right. We've got to think about lawfare as the biggest threat right now. It is the biggest threat. That's why I'm doing a lot of research on it. That's why I spent a lot of time today writing about lawfare and posting at Breitbart News about it. So hopefully you share that story. And it's the fight of our time. It's the fight of our time at the moment. Dave Bowen emails, I've never seen Matt Boyle look so happy after the Triple Crown exclusive dunk on the legacy media. So this is Boyle last week interviewed Prime Minister Netanyahu, J.D. Vance from the White House, and John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. So any of you don't think Breitbart's relevant and at the cutting edge, how could you beat that? So Matt Boyle's our Washington bureau chief there, and I interviewed him on the Breitbart Confidential show, and he was beaming from ear to ear, which is not Matt's normal disposition. So I think that's a very good observation, Dave. Thank you. He had a smile on his face like the high school newspaper editor that just stole the head cheerleader away from the football captain for senior prom. That's right. Been a Breitbart fan forever. Glad to see you getting the props you deserve. Me too. We deserve props. We've been working hard. All right, that'll be today's show. It's fantastic news era we're in. I love to see it. I love to be here. We're going to talk to Senator Ernst later in the week. If you did not listen to my Senator Lee interview, you're missing out. Thank you to producer Misty. Thank you to all of you for telling 10,000 friends and family members, liking, subscribing, all the things that will help the show grow and thrive. I can't thank you enough. Talk to you tomorrow.